For me to go in the kitchen and create a dish inspired by Chef Kuo is gonna be a bit of a challenge. White Snow Osmanthus Crab it's really amazing because it's almost like this coating of snow on there, and then you open it, it's like all these treasures on the inside. Wow!
为各位做这道白雪桂花蟹。
I've only heard or actually see the snow-covered crab on TV. I never really actually tasted before.
I've come up with an idea. So I'm gonna use oolong tea to make an ice cream. I'm gonna add some osmanthus.
Something is not broken, don't fix it.
When you're dealing with a masterpiece like the Mona Lisa, what's the point of redrawing?
I don't know if it's gonna ruin this very classical dish.
Oh, it's burning, the top is burning.
He sets on a fire.
How that is gonna translate into a dish of mine, I've got a challenge on my hands. Welcome to Taiwan. Hi everyone, it's Jason Wang and welcome to Jason's Table. Today we've made our way to the northern city of Jingsan in the northern tip of Taiwan, and we're looking for a famous chef whose restaurant is such a landmark in this town that they say if you haven't been there, you haven't been to Jingsan. It's raining like it does in Taiwan often, so let's get our way to the restaurant and find this chef.
Hi Jason，
How are you? I'm looking for Chef Goa.
英语听无啦？
哦
先上车来我的餐厅再讲，好不好？
Oh, okay. 谢谢。
来
Wow. Okay, thank you. Chef Goa's picking me up. All right, let's go. Here we go. Thank you. 谢谢。Chef Goa, it's so nice to meet you. I've heard a lot about you, so I'm just curious, what are some of the highlights in your culinary career?
我也是全台湾当时台北县第一支拿到乙级证照，又进入中华美食教育协会。
So, Chef, if you were to recommend a classic or one of your signature dishes that you think really represents Taiwan cuisine that you would like to share with foreign audiences, which dish would it be?
我会选择一道就是白雪桂花蟹。
白雪桂花蟹 So, White Snow Osmanthus Crab.
桂花它就是一种贵气，
Oh, okay.
贵人。
Yeah.
那譬如说有来自远道来的
Sure.
朋友，那是一种幸福，一种祝福的那种
Yeah,
感觉。那蟹呢，有那种含义着谢谢的那种感
谢谢
觉。那也要谢谢哈，Jason。然后你可以把我们这个
thank you.
这个料理把它介绍出去，让更多的国外来的宾客知道我们台湾、我们北海岸有这道料理。
The dish is delicious, but also you hope that when people eat it, they receive blessings and good wishes for prosperity and longevity. I think that's amazing. All right, so we've made it to the restaurant. I guess we're gonna get into the kitchen.
那我来示范这道菜
OK
让你品尝看看，
好
介绍给大家。
Sounds good. All right. 终于到了。
Jason，这就是我的餐厅。
Oh, thank you. We've made it to the Jingsan Landmark Restaurant.
Sure.
Amazing. Let's take a look. Chef Goa has been selected by the Chinese Culinary Association as one of the top 5 important chefs in Taiwanese cuisine. Chef Goa has gone overseas to many different countries to act as an ambassador for Taiwanese cuisine and as a consultant for Taiwanese flavors. He is also an important organizer in the Taiwan Culinary Exhibition, networking many chefs from all over Taiwan for overseas. For someone who has such an important and sterling reputation, I'm really curious what his food will taste like.
大家好，我今天为各位做这道白雪桂花蟹。 那先来为各位介绍今天的主要食材，蟹，当然就是用我们最好的万里蟹。
Chef Goa taking care of crab is really amazing to watch. There's no wasted movement. Everything is just very efficient, smacking it there to crush the shell, to release the flavor for cooking, and also to make each section the same size. A lot of interesting techniques and also experience there just in those movements. Every way that he cuts the vegetables, there are all specific techniques used.
从这道料理开始下锅的第一个步骤，先会炸蛋酥。
The use of the fried egg crisps in this particular dish is used to enhance the aroma of all the other ingredients. That oil is then used as well to fry the crab. So you're locking in all these layers of flavor, and the egg crisps absorb that crab flavor, and later on when it's in the presentation of the dish, all that flavor is like little pops of deliciousness.
接下来炸螃蟹的时候，我们是用地瓜粉。
What's really interesting is the use of sweet potato flour to coat the crab, because there's a little bit of bounce in there. It really adheres to the crab, coats it, and kind of protects the flavor. And then later on, when it's stewed or sauteed with any kind of liquid, slightly thickens it, but not in the same way that cornstarch or flour would do to make it super heavy. So it's a wonderful choice to coat the crab.
一样用刚刚有炸过螃蟹的油哈，这些油里面就有蛋酥的这个蛋的香气。
An important component in layering flavor, texture, element in a dish that requires a lot of skill.
这个爆香很重要，这个爆香哈下去，这些东西都要炒到它的香气整个都出来，我们才可以把主食材放下来。
In Asian cuisine, you use all the shell, all the head. There's so much flavor in those pieces. And I think to incorporate that and draw out the maximum flavor, in Asian cuisine, flavor is king, for sure. Aside from presentation, the flavor has to be there. So that is the best way to make sure you have the maximum flavor. Rice wine added to any seafood is a classic combination. Just make the aromas fresher and to get rid of any potential fishy taste. If you give someone an egg, you can tell immediately, do they know how to cook?
讲这个白血，我们特别注意哈，这个蛋黄跟蛋白要分开来。这个蛋白里面绝对不能有一点点的蛋黄在里面。 吃饱未？
Wow, this is Chef Goa's amazing White Snow Osmanthus Crab.
这个是在早期在那个酒楼一些生意人啊、政商名流他们想去的地方。但你也知道，生意人他不是花不起，他喜欢一些比较惊讶、对 special 的东西。早期的师傅他绞尽脑汁，要如果把这道蟹把它包装的更让它神秘感。 让客人不会一下子就知道这道菜上出来是什么东西。
Oh, okay. Should we try it? So when you open it, it's really amazing because it's almost like this coating of snow on there, and then you open it, it's like all these treasures on the inside. Wow. Yeah.
里面有配料的香，还有等一下吃到螃蟹的鲜。
For me, there's a really, really, really rich flavor that's soothing, and there's a creamy texture from the way that you've handled the saucing of it, but all the different ingredients there give a little bit of different texture, but it's all bound together by this delicious umami flavor of the crab. And why did you in particular pick this type of crab?
这个就是要介绍给国外哈，将来有来到台湾的这些游客贵宾。这个在我们北海岸，台湾的最北端一个海岸线的盛产的地方，这个叫万里蟹，取名叫万里蟹。所以今天来到我这里，我当然要端出最好的食材。
Yeah. And I think it's really amazing because this dish you could not have anywhere else in the world because the crabs are different and the water is different. So this dish really does speak to us about where you're from and your history and your culture and your traditions here. And I'm wondering, Chef, would you do me the honor of joining me at my table? I'd like to create a dish inspired by your beautiful Osmanthus crab and invite you to come taste it. Will you come?
当然非常愿意啊！哇，谢谢。
Okay, thank
谢谢
you, thank you,
谢谢
thank you,
谢谢
thank you. For me to go in the kitchen and create a dish inspired by Chef Kuo's White Snow Osmanthus Crab is going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, clearly, this is a dish that has been practiced. There's technique in there, there's tradition, there's history, and just a wealth of depth of flavor and experience in that dish. What would I do? I think some things that stick out for me, the use of the meringue to coat the dish is really interesting. I don't know if I maybe will go in a sweet direction. I happen to love seafood, I love crab. Maybe I'll switch out the protein and do something different that way, but I don't know, I gotta think about this. I'm back in my kitchen and it's my turn to make something inspired by Chef Goa's White Snow Osmanthus Crab. So I think I'm gonna come up with something sweet to kind of counterbalance the savoriness of his dish. And I've come up with an idea. So I'm gonna use oolong tea to make an ice cream. I'm gonna add some osmanthus to yogurt, make a sorbet. And I think I'm gonna cover the whole thing in some baked meringue just like he did on his dish and have that little surprise. So I better get started. So first, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make the ice cream, oolong ice cream. Oolong is an amazing, expensive ingredient, so I'm gonna use that kind of in place of the crab. It's a great way to infuse some really unusual flavors into something sweet that you can have for later. Got some sugar, matcha powder for a little bit of astringency. Look good as well, and sometimes oolong tea, when you brew it out, it doesn't have a strong color, so a little bit of extra flavor into the egg yolks. We're gonna make a custard. I'm tempering the hot milk into the egg. And now I gotta cook this until the custard thickens. All right, I think it's almost done. Definitely turn into a custard and you draw your finger across there, it holds the line. And we're custard finished. We're gonna let that cool a little bit, then ripen it in the fridge. I think our custard is ready, and the best part about having a fancy kitchen is a fancy gelato machine. Custard in. We're gonna put the lid back on and let this go for a little bit. So I heard the machine stop, and our ice cream is all set. Look at that, amazing. Texture looks fantastic. And pop this back in the freezer. Chef Goa's dish uses osmanthus as the theme of it, and it's not real osmanthus, but mine, I'm gonna create an osmanthus yogurt with honey sorbet. I think it's gonna capture that spirit of that dish, so let's get started. My idea for using the yogurt layer, sorbet layer, it's gonna be a little softer than the ice cream, and it's gonna kind of emulate the sauce. Using that to encapsulate the oolong tea, I think is gonna be a nice texture and flavor contrast. A little lemon for some acidity. So this is out of the fridge. I'm gonna add a little lemon zest for a little extra bump of flavor. And in we go into the machine again. Next sorbet is ready. Just to bump up the flavor a little bit of kumquat peel. Fresh out of the machine, the texture is quite soft, so it needs to go back in for a little bit. Chef Goa uses egg multiple different ways in his dish, and I thought a way for me to recreate that would be to use meringue. So I'm gonna make a meringue base, a crisp meringue for the base of the ice cream. That's gonna be kind of my baked Alaska thing. So we gotta make the meringue. Got egg whites, put in a little bit of cream of tartar, and we gotta let this go. Meringue looks done. Nice stiff meringue you can check out by the texture. And now this goes in the oven. Time to get our meringues. And so they come out like this. What am I gonna do with these? I'm gonna use these as the base for our baked Alaska. Oolong ice cream and our osmanthus yogurt sorbet. And this one is softer and this one's harder, so this is gonna be the outside. Lovely scoopable consistency. And oolong. Yum. Meringue. Gather this together. So we have the oolong on the inside, the yogurt on the outside, and the meringue as a base. This goes back in the freezer. Chef Goa's dish has a lot of accompanying elements, so I'm gonna use a little bit of orange segment, but I'm gonna brulee them, meaning putting a little sugar on there, and I think it's gonna give a nice textural contrast. The inspiration for my dish is going to come from the oolong tea, which is kind of in place of the crab. Oolong tea added into an ice cream to expand its flavor. Then osmanthus flowers, which is the name of the original dish, put into a yogurt with honey and kumquats as the sauce. And then I'm gonna encapsulate the whole thing with a beautiful meringue that we're gonna torch. And that's the surprise element, just like Chef Goa's, and a little bit of extra, you know, Jason style special touches on there, but it's gonna be a good dish, I hope. Hi, welcome. Hi,
Jason.
Chef Goa. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi,
Jason.
Jacko. How are you
Thank
doing?
you for having me.
Hi, Yannick.
Hi, thanks
Good
for
to see
having
you.
me.
I'm really excited today. You're gonna get to taste some wonderful, yummy food. I went to Chef Goa's restaurant, and he's gonna bring his specialty dish for us to try, and then I'm gonna create something inspired by that. So have a seat. I have something cooking in the, but 请坐 first. Yes, yes, yes.
thank
So
you.
please listen. So I went to Chef Goa's restaurant. The food was delicious. He made a special 白雪桂花蟹 delicious crab dish. Chef actually brought the dish, so we're gonna get to try it first. But I gotta get back to the kitchen. Okay. So I'll be right back in just a minute. Okay, all right.
I've only heard or actually see the snow-covered crab on TV, but I never really actually tasted before.
Wow, we got a treat. Wow, look at this. This is Chef Goa's White Snow Osmanthus Crab, and you can see it's just peeking out a little bit, but it's beautiful.
先把它剖开来。
I can see the texture looks like maybe egg white, but
Yeah.
it actually, when you first present it, it looks like cotton candy.
So there's crab.
Thank you. Yeah.
Wow, nice and hot. Okay, bon appetit. So the way that Chef has prepared the crab, it's all cut up, so it's easy to eat as well. So just bite into it and just kind of suck in, and you get all the meat and the delicious juice.
I think the crab is maybe deep fried.
Yeah.
So it has that really fragrantness, oily type of feeling, you know, aroma to it.
I think the meat's really soft. Like it tastes
Yeah,
really good.
the meat is very tender and
I love seafood though. I think I like
here in Taiwan, there's so much great seafood compared to Germany, so I think it's really good.
Yeah.
基本上这是一个很好的一个螃蟹，你在烹调过程中，这个火候控制得好，相对它肉就会好吃。
Well, I have the dish that I was working on inspired by Chef Goa, but I have a couple more things to finish in the kitchen. So you folks keep eating. I'll be right back. Okay, thanks.
我自己脑子里面有点想象啦，中餐跟比较欧美西式的料理绝对会不同。那我相信今天绝对一定会吃出非常让我惊讶的一个料理。
If something is not broken, don't fix it. I don't know if it's going to ruin this very classic old dish. I hope not, but I'm looking forward to see what Jason has cooked up for us.
Now that everything's almost done, I'm gonna put it all together and it's time to serve our guests. Jiababwe, bon appetit. All right, it's time for dessert. So this is my dish inspired by Chef Goa's. It's not quite done yet.
Oh, it's actually art in process.
Yes.
Huh?
So let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go. A little bit of flame for the brandy.
I can see the flame.
Oh,
There, toasting.
it's burning. The top is burning.
Okay, and for you, Jacko.
Thank you. Wow. He sets on a fire. To me, that's like, I've never thought that I could do that. Should we just cut it open?
Any way you want to eat it, yeah.
I don't really know where to start. It looks so good.
Oh, it's ice cream.
It's ice cream, yeah.
Let's get that. Wow.
I think the yogurt and the oolong also really works well together. Like one is a little bit more sour and the other one is a bit more sweet. I think that together is a nice combination. Oolong ice cream in the middle and the flavor of the yogurt on the outside, it worked super well together. Like there was like a sweetness and then a little bit of a sourness, and then so all those things together was amazing. Like I really enjoyed the ice cream.
You definitely have to try the walnut, because once you crack open the walnut, that really friggin' nutty, oily thing, you know, really richness.
The reason why I made the yogurt a little softer is because Sufu's dish has kind of like the sauce on it.
Right.
So if you think the oolong ice cream is more like the crab, and then this stuff is more like the sauce.
Yeah, you can really tell that it's like oolong ice cream from the outside, right? Like
Yeah.
like you get surprised as you eat.
And I think just like with Chef Dish, you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But then you open
For
it.
sure. Like
and
I've never heard about it before. Like I didn't know that inside is like 螃蟹。
这一道这样的做法跟吃法哦，真的是你在不管前面有吃到多少的，不管什么样的料理，最后是一道是非常能够很幸福、很解油腻的一道甜品。
For me, it's such an honor and a privilege and a relief to know that Chef Goa did enjoy my dish. When you're dealing with a masterpiece like the Mona Lisa, what's the point of redrawing it, right? So my whole attempt to be inspired by the dish was to draw out the conceptual idea of what makes the White Snow Osmanthus Crab so special and so successful by incorporating those kind of conceptual points into a dessert. I mean, who doesn't love dessert? So I think it's a nice foil. Main course, crab, dessert, some ice cream.
哇，他今天的表现我真的太期待，而且觉得太惊讶、太棒了。
Well, eat up, there's still more to eat. As always, it's so great to share food with friends. The spirit of a classic traditional dish lives on, and it has inspired me in wonderful ways. So I will see you folks next time. Hope you'll join me again for Jason's table. Truly a masterful dish, and we're gonna keep eating. Bye.
For sure.